so to that end, I took the words right out of my mouth. For me, it's always been just whatever sparks it. Like I think the creative process is so non-linear. I think especially with music, I've had it where there's been a melody, like I'm singing it, just I have a melody in my head in the shower, and then I go down after the shower and I tinkering on the piano trying to figure out, okay, what progression services this melody? Like I'll have the melody first and I'll build the chords around it. I've had the inverse. I've had where I've had a chord progression, or even just literally a movement between two chords. Where I haven't even necessarily had a full structure or even known, is this for a verse, is this for a chorus, but I've just had this one movement that has just like, ooh, that's sitting really well. I love, like, I'm such a, not to get specific, but I'm such a sucker for like a 1 major 7 to a 4 major 7. I love starting there because it's so ambiguous and you can go so many different ways with it. But so I've had it many a time where a melody strikes me, or I just have something kind of stuck in my head, and plenty of times where it was a progression. I've had times where the benefit of learning multiple instruments, or at least having a very kind of well-rounded view of music, is you can pull from it. Like I've had times where a drum groove or just a pocket I had kind of inspired, okay, so I have this rhythm of this, so it's like, okay, then I'll build a right, build a little keyboard part around that drum pocket, right, or vice versa, right. And I'm fortunate to have a background in a very rhythm-driven instrument and a super, melodic and phonic instrument that has a lot of directions you can go with it. And in addition, I personally fancy myself a writer, so I've had times where I had a line, a lyric, a series of words or a phrase or a bit of wordplay or some sort of, I love when you kind of just think of something that's a very like hook line, like something that just feels like, oh, that's catchy, and that can go right into a chorus. If I sort of end the pre-chorus with that, that'll kind of launch into it. And then the other thing, obviously this, feel free to cut in and out whatever you want of this, but I've had times where, I think the phrase is great artists steal, or whatever it may be, like the amount of times where I'll hear a record by, fill in the blank, and it's just like, oh, I don't want to do exactly what they did, but the energy that they captured there, I want to try to find that and put my own spin on it. And so that often will drive me to write. But I think the most pivotal and essential thing with starting songwriting is to just start. Because so often, and I'm guilty of this, I will believe that I have to wait for something to strike me. I'll have to wait for some crazy moment of inspiration and clarity to hit for me to really start writing something. That doesn't always happen. So sometimes you got to sit down and write. J. Cole, who's a super talented writer, he calls it his 7-minute drill, where every morning he wakes up and he just writes lyrics for 7 minutes, not to any sort of specific instrumentation, not with any concept in mind, but he just writes just to stay sharp. And I think that approach will allow you to write a lot more than you thought you could.